If you're looking to get out of the cold of the north and you want to move down here to sunny South Florida, but you're not sure if you should buy a home or a condo here, you're going to want to stick around because in this video, we're going to go over a few key pointers that should help you make your decision. What's going on, everybody? My name is Paul Blasko. I am a local realtor here in the South Florida area, and I absolutely love chatting about real estate. My phone number is going to be right here on the screen, and if you want to book a call with me, use the link in the description below and it'll put it directly onto my calendar. All right, so let's get right into the video. The first thing we're gonna go over is the down payments that you need for a home versus a condo. Now, when you're looking at a house here in South Florida, a typical lowest down payment that you could put is 3.5% down, and that is a first-time home buyer loan. That loan is also known as FHA. Now, for a condo, you could also do FHA, but most condominiums require 20% down. That could affect your decision based on the budget that you have here, because if you're looking to buy a house for $450,000 and a condo for $450,000, 3.5% down and 20% down is a pretty big difference, including closing costs and insurance and other things you got to cover. That's really going to make you go over budget. Now, also to tie this in, for a house, typically you don't need to make a credit score minimum only for your loan type, but for a condo, most condominiums require you to have a specific credit score, not only for your loan, but also to get approved to actually live in the condominium. So if we're going with a house price of about $500,000, your down payment if you went FHA on a regular home would be about $17,500. Now, if you're looking at a condo that's $500,000, you are looking at a $100,000 down payment, and that's at 20%. Now, I go off of this because here in Florida, almost every single condo requires 20% down. I would say 99% of them do, because some out there are condos, but they're not actually condos. They require 20%. So depending on where you live, it may be different, but if we're going off based here in Florida, it's typically 20% down. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is the cost of ownership. Now, a condo, the cost of ownership, there's a few different things that you're going to have to pay for that are definitely not the same as owning a house. The first one is going to be assessments. Assessments on a condo are not something that you have to really deal with when you're owning a home. Assessments are something that when the building decides that they have to repair something like the roof or make a major structural or electrical repair, that assessment is the total cost split between all of the units. Now, if it's a $2 million assessment to do a major overhaul from a 40-year inspection and there's 50 units, it's going to be equally divided by all 50 units. So if that assessment's $2 million and there's 50 units, you're looking at about $40,000 per unit of an assessment that you have to pay. Typically, those massive assessments don't really come around too often, but right now in 2023, with the Surfside collapse and all of the restructuring of HOAs and assessments that need to be paid, this is happening on condos all across the beach here in South Florida, and it is very typical. I made another video about that if you click the button above, and that'll dive a little bit deeper into condos and what's going on with the fees, but this is something you need to be aware of if you're looking to buy a condo. Like I said, that fee doesn't typically apply to home ownership. It really should never apply to home ownership for assessments, because you own the home, you own the land, and it's not divided by the entire community. Now, another thing for cost of ownership is the HOA, and this really applies for both condo and home. Now, the HOA for a condo is slightly different, as there are assessments like I mentioned before. The HOA for a home is really just for the neighborhood, mostly for lawn and just general maintenance and upkeep, so the neighborhood stays pretty uniform. HOA for a home ownership, for the most part, like I said, is really just to make sure the neighborhood is very clean, and they could actually fine you if you don't cut the grass or maintain the trees or the lawn like they would like you to do. If you park over a sidewalk with your car, even if it's in your own driveway, the HOA and a regular housing community can still do that to you. So that's one thing that you should know if you're looking for a home. You should double check if it is in an HOA community. Most people who buy homes hate to buy in HOA communities because if they don't want to cut their grass, they don't want to get fined for it, but that's just how HOA communities are. Now, the HOA in a condo is slightly different because there's common areas like a gym, laundry rooms, pool decks that have the whole community there, and there are entertainment rooms that are all shared space, and those all fall within the HOA, so everyone is agreeing to upkeep and maintain all of those areas. Now, another thing for cost of ownership is going to be inspections. Inspections on a home are usually done while you're purchasing the home in that process. This is typically done so you can see if the seller is going to give any concessions, what repairs need to be made to the home, and what the age of all of the major systems are. Inspections on a condo are slightly different because there are structural and electrical inspections, as well as a 40-year inspection, which is basically happening to all of the condos now. And we're gonna have to go over everything that has to do with that condo if you're looking to buy or you're living in it, so you can determine what's wrong and if there's any assessments that need to be made to make those repairs, as everyone owns all of the space that's shared and basically the entire building. So we're gonna talk about the value of ownership. Now, the value of ownership in a condo and a home is slightly different. Condos are typically cheaper to get into, and the value is a little bit different than owning a home. Condos can be a great starter home if you're looking to buy something, but you don't have a ton of money to spend and you don't want to buy in the $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 range. You can still get pretty nice space for $200,000 to $300,000. Now, for a home in this market in South Florida, for a decent sized home, you're looking at $500,000 to $600,000. Now, every area is different, and I'm just going off of, Pompano, Fort Lauderdale, and Boca, this area that I live in. It's pretty expensive to own a home. Me, myself, I bought a condo just because of the value to put down and the amount of space that I'm gonna get. Typically for a 1,200 square foot home here in Pompano Beach, it's right around $400,000. I paid $240,000 for 1,000 square feet, and to me, it's basically the same. Now, in a home, if you value privacy, you do get a lot more privacy owning an actual home. For a condo, obviously there's shared space like the pool area, you have neighbors. It kind of feels like an apartment, but everyone owns, so it's a slightly different dynamic when it comes to your neighbors. But if you value privacy, I would say a home definitely is a lot more private, as you have a yard and you have an area that's really your own and your own land. Now, for a condo, you do not own the land, and there's things called co-ops, which are slightly different, where the land is leased to the condo builder and then you buy those units. But typically in a condo, you don't own the land, you just own your unit. Now, if we're looking at taxes in terms of value, property taxes on condos are usually slightly lower. Now, because you own the land and the amount of money is higher, property taxes on a home are slightly higher, and that's to be expected. All right, so let's go into the lifestyle difference between a home and a condo. Now, for a home, the lifestyle is you're living in a neighborhood, there's other friends and family possibly in the area, as well as kids in the neighborhood if you have kids, and it's a little bit more of a tight-knit community feel. Now, in a condo, it kind of feels like an apartment, like I said before, but since the dynamic is slightly different because they're all owners, you still do have that kind of tight-knit feel, but there's not as many families in condos. It's mostly a little bit older people, or it's just younger people that don't have the money or don't have huge budget to buy a property and want a good starter home that they could eventually upgrade. Now, you can change your lifestyle by living in a condo versus a home, because if you want to live right on the beach, you can do that in a condo for a fairly fair price. You can't necessarily do that for a good price in a home directly on the beach. Down here in South Florida, if you want to live on the beach in a home, you're going to be in the millions of dollars. You can do that in a condo for about $400,000 in Pompano Beach. Now, that can change the way that you live your lifestyle depending on really what you want out of it, because a condo on the beach can rent for more. You could possibly Airbnb, and you could use it for so many different things other than just living. Typically, the lifestyle that you're living in a home is that you're settling down, you're gonna be there for a while, and that's really like a home base for you. The lifestyle in a condo really just feels, for me personally, like, okay, this is a great starting point. We have a space, we're living here, and we're owners, but eventually we're gonna upgrade to a home as we wanna have a bigger family and we wanna grow, and that's really what we're looking towards. But this is kind of a stepping stone to move in another direction. Like I said before, everyone has different intentions, but there is a pretty big lifestyle difference when it comes to a home versus a condo, and you just really need to decide what you want to get out of it. If you got any value out of this video, or you appreciate the content I'm putting out there, please hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell, as it really shows me that you love what I'm doing. If you want to see a playlist of everything that you need to know about moving to Florida, hit this button right here. And if you want to see the most recent video I posted before this, hit this button right here. Thanks for watching.